Can you really hire your 8-year-old? How about your teenager? This is one of the most common questions that I'm asked, and the truth might actually surprise you. Hi everyone, I'm Jamie Trull, CPA, financial educator, and big-time advocate for small business owners and entrepreneurial parents. And today I've actually got a few special guests that are going to be joining me to answer a very important question. What age can you legally hire your kids? And what are the rules to do it the correct way? Stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you the #1 biggest mistake that I see business owners making when it comes to employing their kids, even when they are paying them for work in their business. So can you legally hire your kids? Yes, you can hire them, but the specifics and the rules are going to depend on their age, what they're going to be doing, and even the entity type of your business. All right, now this is my son and our first special guest today, Miles.
Hello.
He is, how old are you?
I'm 11.
He's 11, and he actually helps me out in my business quite a bit. And it's the summer, so we're really kicking off having more to do, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So Miles helps me with a lot of different things, including showing up on videos. And he even created an entire bonus lesson for my Hiring Your Kids Toolkit program, didn't you?
Yeah.
All by yourself. So he wrote the whole entire outline. It was about teaching kids about money, made the presentation. What'd you make it in?
I made it in Canva.
In Canva, yep. And animated it, it looked amazing. And then what did you do?
And then I shared it.
You actually recorded it, didn't you? The whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep, he actually recorded it, and all we had to do on our end was edit it. And it was fabulous. Did you feel like you learned a lot from that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah.
It was super fun. Do you think we should add a little clip from the blooper reel right now?
Yeah.
All right, let's add that in.
The 4 main goals that we have today are... Oh, gosh. Now I gotta look down. Oh. Wait, what was I saying before that? I thought you said automatically, and I'm just like, that's not a word.
I don't hate it.
Don't forget to dab.
All right, well, thanks for joining me, Miles. I really appreciate you being here. And I'm going to come up with some more things for you to do. I bet you also like being able to work in your PJs, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Gritty in the
Not a bad deal. And we're back. So what exactly are the age requirements for hiring your kids? Well, federally, there is an exemption to child labor laws specifically for kids who are working in their own parents' business. Now, this is true for businesses that are sole proprietorships. Maybe you're an LLC that's only owned by one or both parents and not a corporation or a partnership that's owned by multiple parents. And in that case, then you are exempt from the federal labor laws and you can employ your child at any age. Now, if your kids are 14 or over, they can generally work for you no matter what the structure is of your business. However, you do get better tax benefits if they are working for a sole proprietorship or an LLC and not a corporation. And that's true if they are a minor under the age of 18. So the best benefits are for minors who are under 18 working for you. Now, all that said, if you are a corporation and want to employ your child who is under 14, there are ways to do that legally, or if you want to be able to get the best tax benefits regardless of their age, there is a way to do that regardless of structure, but there are some added steps. So if you're curious to know more about that, I actually go in depth into this topic in my free masterclass. So go check it out, jamietrull.com/masterclass. That is the Hiring Your Kids 101 masterclass, and you can learn the ins and outs, and we'll go a little bit deeper into this concept of what the rules are based on your entity type. So what kind of work can your kids actually do in your business? You might be asking yourself that question. Now, the rules are that it must be age appropriate, it must be non-hazardous. So even though you may be exempt from the age requirement of the Federal Labor Standards Act, you are not ever going to be exempt from the hazardous activities. So you cannot put your child in a mine or on an assembly line, of course. It's also going to be something that's actually needed in your business and normal for you to hire someone. So if you're having them do a task that you would never normally actually hire someone else to do or do yourself, then that probably won't pass the test. And they do really have to work for you. I'm really big on this. I know a lot of people look at this as an opportunity to put their kids on payroll and pay them and get a tax deduction, and they aren't actually even requiring their kid to work for them, which first of all is not a great lesson for your kids. And second of all is really missing an opportunity to be able to develop skills in your kids. That's what Miles has liked the most about working in the business, is being able to really gain some new skills and learn some new things and feel really proud of what he can do now. So if you need some examples, little kids doing any kind of modeling, maybe for social media or video, like what I'm doing now, my kids are being paid for being in this video. Maybe it's packing swag bags or being a greeter if you have an actual brick and mortar place. Those are jobs that are even good for younger people. And then as they get older, you're going to be able to give them more things to do. My son does some light graphic design. He does work with presentations and editing and things like that, which have really gained some great skills for him. And eventually, once he's a teen, I might get him into doing more with social media and maybe into learning video editing, which would be a fabulous skill for him to learn. And this is Nora, my little mini-me. And as you can see, she's a little bit younger. How old are you, Nora?
8.
You're 8, yeah. And do you work for mommy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nora does a lot of things. She's got a lot of good skills. So she comes and joins me for my videos sometimes. She's modeling for me, basically, for my social media. If she shows up in pictures and things like that, I do pay her for that. And Nora is great at organization, aren't you, Nora? Mm-hmm. That's one of her skills. She puts everything in rainbow order. And she is a fabulous organizational assistant. So I've utilized those skills. And that's what's really neat. It's cool to see the things that your kids gravitate towards and to be able to put them in roles that really help them to hone those skills and the things that are unique about them. So Nora, what is your favorite part of working with mommy?
I like that I get to spend time with you and that you pay me.
Those are both important. So literally, I'm paying you to spend time with me, kind of. That's kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
Best of both worlds. And you get to work in your PJs too. Because it's summer. All right. Anything else you want to say, Nora, before we leave?
No.
All right. I love you. Go play. And that's a good segue into the next question, which is how much should you actually pay your kids? Now, remember, the more that you pay them, the more of a tax benefit there will be. However, you do need to have a basis for what you're paying them. And the golden rule is to pay them reasonably for the work they're actually doing in your business. Now, depending on what they're doing, it may come with different rates. So if they're doing administrative work that you would normally pay someone else $15 an hour to do, then maybe $15 an hour is a good rate for that work. Or if they are doing modeling or acting for you, that actually might be paid on a per project basis, and you could potentially pay them more just based on what they would be paid if they were to get a modeling or acting job for someone else's business. So that leads us to the next question, which is what records should you keep? And the answer is you should keep good records. Again, remember, if you're ever audited, then you're going to have to prove that they were actually doing work for your business, that that work was reasonable, and that you have it documented in such a way that you can actually get credit for that deduction. And that means treating them like any other employee and having the documentation to prove you actually hired them. So we're talking about things like issuing W-2s, having some form of timesheet that actually documents the work that they're doing, having an employment agreement as well, and actually having set job descriptions for what they do for your business. And this is one of those things that can get people into a little bit of trouble when they skip this step. I'm a big fan of documenting everything, and then you know you have it if you are ever in a situation where you get audited. All right, so remember I said I was going to tell you the number one mistake I see people making. And that mistake is not realizing that when you're paying your kids to do work for you, you can deduct that and it can help shift your income from a higher tax bracket, i.e. yours, to a lower, probably zero tax bracket, which is your child's. Now, I know a lot of people that actually pay their kids, but they don't take it as a deduction, and maybe they just hand them cash from time to time for things. And they don't realize how lucrative it can actually be if you do claim this as an actual deduction. Now, of course, there's a cost benefit here, right? So if you are just handing them $20 every once in a while for doing something in your business, it may not be worth getting them set up as an employee of your business. However, if you want to do something like open a Roth IRA for them, or get a bigger tax deduction, or heck, even use the money you're paying your child and getting a tax deduction for to still pay for things you're already paying for, like private school tuition, or sporting event fees, or dance competition fees, right? All of that relates to them, and you can use the money that you're paying your child to pay for those things, and it's going to be tax-free. So that's the biggest mistake I make, is just not being intentional about it and realizing how impactful this can be if you set it up the right way. Now, if you want to dive deeper into paying your kids tax-free and doing it legally, definitely make sure to go check out my masterclass all about this topic, where I go deeper into how to do this the right way. You can find that masterclass at jamietrull.com/masterclass, and it's completely free, so go check it out now. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and leave a note in the comments. Do your kids work for you? How old are they? What do you think that they could be doing or are already doing in your business? Tell me down below. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time.